Hey y'all, welcome back to the farmstead. Alrighty, got my hat on because it's hot outside. Well, the sun is shining, it's not hot. It is not hot, and I know hot. So I've had to make a really tough choice about the garden. Let's walk out there. Maybe that one. Let's walk out to the garden. Okay. So it's getting time for fall planting. And in order for us to do fall planting the way that my garden is set up, I have to make space in my garden because I don't necessarily have enough space for all of the plants I want to plant. So with that being said, I've got to take some things out and put some things in, some things that are still producing for us. But in order for my fall plants to be ready, I've got to go ahead and sacrifice some of these the spring plants. So we had a storm the other day. It was the tropical storm Idalia, and we turned our table upside down just to make sure that nothing flew away. We did not know how that storm was going to come in, and so we made a choice to just go ahead and try to stormerize our outside space. And so just trying to get that fixed now. I've got ants in my garden. Well, just in this space back here, so I'm gonna have to get some ant stuff to come through and get rid of some ants. Okay, so let me turn my camera around and show you what I'm going to do. So this is, or what was my so prolific in the very beginning, tomato patch, and now it is just, we got bugs, we had caterpillars. They just came through and just terrorized this space. But I still do have, I still have flowers. I still have tomatoes coming. And you can keep your tomatoes, from what I'm hearing, until like the first frost, if they'll keep producing. This set of tomato plants seem to be producing a little better. It's not as prolific as these, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull these out. We're gonna pull off all the tomatoes, green ones, anything that we can salvage. And I'm going to pull this entire bed out so that I can make arrangements for fall planting. That's going to also let me come in here with the weed eater and weed down some of these weeds that have just been growing up. We're going to take down this rope because it's no longer necessary, because we only put it up just to keep the tomato plant standing upright because they were so full that they were falling over. And of course, my son wanted to wait till now to come outside, and it is like 9 zillion degrees out here. But all is well. We got to get this done. So that's what Jackson and I are going to be doing right now. We're going to go ahead and pull this particular section of the garden out. We're going to leave this one in. There's a pepper plant here. I've got to get some water going to my beans are coming up. These are scarlet red runner beans. And then I also have cucumbers coming, right? But my scarlet runner beans don't look like they're getting enough water or something. Something over here is not happening right, because my runner beans are just, some of them are dying. I may have to plant again. I have some, but I've got to probably plant again. And then my cucumbers are doing okay, but I've got to get some water going out here. So I'm going to get Jackson to get some water going out here. I think it's just dry. And this is where we have the hardest time getting water out. So we still don't have our system perfected with our hoses, our soaker hoses, but we're working on it. So I'm going to get Jackson to get this water turned on, and I am going to get myself set up so that I can pull out these tomato plants. Alrighty, you guys, as we get ready to jump into this tear out, I do want to say thank you so much to Vego Gardens. Vego Gardens sent me a raised metal garden bed that we're going to be tearing out this entire section, and we're going to replace. This was an in-ground portion that we just had put in this year. Mr. Jerome came in, he's my yard guy, came in and he actually added in a couple of in-ground beds. But what I feel is that we've had much success with the raised beds, and I'm hoping to be able to replace any of the in-ground garden with raised beds over time. So we were able to get the 17-inch tall 10-in-1 modular metal raised garden bed kit. Now the great thing about this garden bed kit is, first of all, it's metal, and I do appreciate and love that, but it has 10 different configurations. You're going to see Jackson in just a second actually sit down and put this together. This is so easy, my 14-year-old could put it together. Now, sister and I did have to help him a little bit, but it was just because there was a if he had leaned it up against something, he could have gotten it in just fine, but he just wanted it to be easy, and we were trying to get ourselves to the gym. I do actually love this part of just the whole tear out of these old plants and the creation or the putting together of the new plants. So these are made out of 100% recyclable materials. It takes about 50 minutes to assemble. I would say that's about right. You're going to see it sped up a little bit, but it did not take us very long to get it together. They're 17 inches in height, and they have a 20+ year lifespan. It is made out of a steel substrate coated in zinc, aluminum, and magnesium, and is USDA certified paint for increased longevity. This, because it's made out of 100% recyclable material, it is corrosion resistant, and it will survive the elements for decades. Now, y'all know we out here in Hurricane Alley, so we gonna see if it survives the decades. But the thing that was so neat about this one was because Jackson, he didn't show this part. I didn't film this part, but he had his little tape measure out there. Okay, Mom, do you want it long? Do you want it wide? Do you want it short? How do you want to put it together? I honestly wish I had been able to get more than one of these, because it would have helped me to my goal quicker, but that is perfectly fine. We got what we got, and it works out so very well. These do come in different colors. You can get them in pearl white. You can also get it in blue, but we chose to get the green, and we actually love that color. I was trying to bring some color into the garden, and what we did was, as we were pulling out these tomato plants, what I was thinking, and I know my avid gardeners are going to come and say, Shakema, you could have used that for compost. And I should have and could have. The only issue is I was so concerned about having volunteer tomatoes grow up in this garden bed, because I'm putting something totally different in here, that I did not want to deal with the volunteers. So we just went ahead and disposed of all of that. I don't have a compost bin. I don't have a compost barrel. I don't have anywhere that I can compost, or the ability at current to tend to compost the way it needs to. So I don't do it just yet. It doesn't mean down the road that we will not do it. But here you see we've totally gotten all of those plants out, and I am now just going through. I actually went through and weeded between the two garden beds that were there, and I'm still weeding here. Sister's helping me to go ahead and bag up a lot of this. Again, if we had a workable compost situation that I could easily do with my schedule, I would definitely be doing that. But of course, that is not my situation at the moment. So what I was glad about, what the thing I guess I didn't do that I probably should have done, but I was also trying to maximize and utilize the soil that was already down here, is to put down some weed barrier. I did not do that. And of course, if I were starting this garden from scratch, I would have probably done that, and it would make this weed pressure so much easier to handle. However, at current, I am not at that stage. This is not brand new. I am working on this as I go along. And so for me, this just has worked. It's worked for the kids and I. You know, we're novice gardeners. We would never come out and tell anybody that we are the best gardeners of life. I do this as solely as a self-care, this makes me happy type of thing. Although the residual of that is that the children and I get vegetables. The kids do this because mom wants them to learn how to be sustainable in their lives. And of course, they could care less. But they do help me, and I'm very grateful that my children do help. So as you can tell, Jackson has gotten him a nice little chair, and he is getting all of our pieces out. This comes packed pretty compactly in one single box, all of the pieces, and they connect together with screws. And so it just made it very well. That it just came together so well. So it comes, if you purchase it, you're going to get one small compact box. It comes with nuts, it comes with screws. It also comes with the tool that you need to use on the inside to put it together. It does have these two long poles. This is the thing that Jackson needed a little bit of help with. Once he got I would say the side walls put together, he did need a little bit of help holding one of the walls so he connect the long piece. It's just what keeps it together. There are two of them for this particular structure or this layout that we picked. Again, we could have made it long and thin or more rectangular, or we could have made it squat and fat, so a little bit more wide. I think we did a combination and made it a little bit wider, and the reason is because I wanted to plant squash in there. And so sometimes a zucchini and squash. Zucchini needs to spread out, and I didn't want the leaves spreading so far on the ground that it it was dragging the ground. I still wanted the leaves to kind of be more compact into the bed. And so it worked out, and I just, came over to help hold that side wall into place, and sister's holding in the other side wall. We did recognize here, see, we have our soaker hose, so we have to make adjustments for the soaker hose. And then the bed that we're working on top of is the dirt is tall, so I just made a little well in there. And once we made the little well in there, it all worked out perfectly, just fine. So we were able to we were able to just sit that pipe down on the inside of it, and it worked out just perfectly fine. So it really worked out extremely well for us. We're still close enough to the other in-ground garden bed that I can walk between the rows. That was another thing that was important, because when we had our tomatoes there, they grew so prolifically that it was hard for us to get between, and y'all know that weeds they just bother me. So anywho, here it is. It's all put together. Again, you can do 10 different configurations. And so I'm just working around some of the soil that was in that in-ground bed. And again, had I had some things to bolster it underneath, it would have been so much better. It would have lifted the soil up a little bit more. But I did not want to have involuntary tomatoes pop up in this bed. So I just took it away. I didn't have any logs or anything like that. Well, I guess I did, but I was using those for firewood for the fire pit, but I could have used those. I wasn't thinking at the moment. So what I did do is I went into my greenhouse and I pulled out my soil barrel and was using that nice and rich soil to kind of help. We're still having some watering issues with our garden, so we are going to have to hand water as well. We have soaker hoses, but I don't think we have the best system, so we are going to have to come out and hand water. And so you see Jackson, he's actually throwing some more soil and some cow manure over the fence, because I just wanted to make sure that we had enough for this particular garden bed. It's 17 inches tall, and again, I'm going to be building up the beds as the years go along. Sometimes bending over is a little bit of a challenge, so I wanted to make sure that we build the beds up pretty good. But it just took us buying a couple more cubic feet of soil. This is organic raised bed soil that I got from Walmart. And sister's out there helping me. Jackson's going to jump in as well. We want to make sure that we mix and we want to make sure that we hydrate the soil as well. And so we're just going to, this is just like a new building process. We're going to mix the soil and the cow manure and to make sure that this bed does very well for us. Alrighty, you guys. So after I just went ahead and put all of the manure and all of the organic raised bed soil in this one. And then the kids' job was to mix it together, right? We want to make sure that we get all that manure spread around. And so I was trying to instruct them, go ahead and let's start mixing it together. So we're kind of a little bit limited on some of our tools, but we had a shovel and we had this hoe, and that just worked out. I need to get one of those rakes that is like the metal one with the short, it's like curved, you know what I mean? Like a yard rake, I guess that's what I'm talking about. I know what it looks like, but I don't have one of those, but I've been meaning to get one, and I just had not. And as you can tell, like even on top, right underneath, look, when Jackson's pulling the dirt up, it's very, very dry in there. So you won't see it in this particular video, but after we, after the kids got done, mixing, and I was over there mixing as well, I got me a little tool to try to mix. I wish I had a tiller to actually till. I know everybody don't till their, gardens all the time, but I really wished I had a good tiller that I could just till up and start over. And then we're trying not to cover up our soaker hose either. After after we do this, you will not see this, but I actually planted this bed out. But I also then go back in and water. But we did not get that caught on tape. We didn't get the planting or the watering. I think we were in two different places at the time. The kids were working on something else, and I was trying to get this done because we were trying to make it to the gym, which I think we did. So after we got that bed situated, what I did was I just made another tough choice to go ahead and pull. This whole bed right here was volunteer tomatoes. We did not plant any of these. They just came up, which is what I wanted to prevent from the other bed. So we're just pulling off all of the, tomatoes that are left on these plants. And then what we're going to do is pull this entire bed out, and I'm going to prep it to, I'm going to try to put some cabbage in here or some more kale. One thing I'm not going to do in my garden anymore is just plant whatever. I'm just going to plant what the kids and I enjoy and what we eat and what I can preserve. We love peppers. I'm going to try to get some Sugar Rush peach pepper plants next year. I'm going to try to do more bells, and then I'm going to do some tomatoes. I would like to make sauce, barbecue sauce. I want to do Roma tomatoes, and maybe some Dr. Witchies or some Big Boys. My Big Boys didn't do well this year. But anyway, we just decided that we would go ahead and pull this bed out. And then since we were just out there working, some of our stakes, our bamboo stakes, some of them were just rotted, and so we went ahead and tossed those. But these green ones are not bamboo or wood type material at all. So we just recycled those back into the greenhouse, and we'll pull those back out again. There is Mama. She hadn't been feeling well the last couple of days. Her stomach is a little bit upset. We're not exactly sure, but she goes through those phases at times. But yeah, we're just finishing up, pulling out, and I'm weeding while I'm pulling out. I'm pulling out tomato plants, but I'm also trying to weed in the garden as well. And I can't remember what I asked Jackson to do. Oh, he was going to plant some pepper plants. We just happened to, I was in Walmart and saw these 2 pepper plants. I'm not exactly sure if they can be out of their pot into the ground, but we had some space in that back pepper bed, and I said, well, Jackson, just go ahead and dig some holes. But in this bed, I again thank you, Vego Garden, for sending us this. There's zucchini in here, and there's radishes in here, and then here are our 2 new peppers. They were full of peppers when we got them. But anyway, there'll be a link in the description for the garden bed. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.